if you have started your journey in Web3, right? There are a couple of things that you must be aware of, like how to set up wallets and how to interact with dApps, how to do trading on decentralized exchanges and stuff like that.
My crypto journey started all the way
Yeah.
back in 2017.
As like Google login for a Web2 world, in my opinion, in which if you do not have that wallet connect, you cannot get access to the decentralized application. You cannot interact with it.
We created two solutions. One was the QR code that would use the WalletConnect protocol to actually connect remotely from your phone to your desktop.
What leads Wallet Connect to be like the front leader in this particular piece?
We support every blockchain on Earth today, and we don't have to make any changes if we need to add a new blockchain.
WalletConnect has given you the freedom of choice that if I want to connect a particular dApp through my hardware wallet, I just trust my hardware wallet maybe. So that freedom has been given back to you. There are close to 45 million users worldwide for WalletConnect, and there are close to 255 million connections that has happened.
This is not about apps, this is not about wallets, it's about the user experience.
Why is Wallet Connect getting decentralized?
Partnered with many of these wallets. Imagine a world where every time you connect your wallet, you do not have to approve a transaction in your wallet ever again.
How you're planning to integrate AI or LLM models into your ecosystem?
I believe the WalletConnect network will play a big role in that future.
Where do you see WalletConnect like 5 years down the line?
We're not just building the future of login, we're also building the future of finance.
Hi everyone, and today we have Pranav. I mean, after a long time, Pranav is here with us. So Pranav, I mean, I hope everything is fine in US because people are obviously missing you, and I hope you have settled down pretty well. So it's good to see you. I think after a while, people were just commenting on every video that where is Pranav? Please bring him back. So I'm glad that you're back, and uh, and again we have Pedro with us, and today it's a very important podcast considering that you know if you have started your journey in Web3, right? There are a couple of things that you must be aware of. Like, I mean, the way it's like when you start your journey, you know how to set up wallets and you know how to interact with dApps, how to do trading on decentralized exchanges and stuff like that. And one thing that when you start your journey in the space is that you must have used Wallet Connect, right? Or if you have not used it, probably you must have heard about it and you're planning to maybe use Wallet Connect and figure out, okay, is it like worth it, is it safe, or is it the right way to do it? So probably all those questions that you had in your mind around Wallet Connect, or you must have heard it recently, maybe because of token or maybe because of airdrop, everything that you had in your mind, around Wallet Connect, probably everything will get answered, and that'll be answered directly by Pedro, who is the founder and director at Wallet Connect Foundation, right? So, so it's going to be amazing session. Especially, we'll also talk about how this space is evolving and what is the future, and obviously because of all these hacks that has been happening on the centralized exchanges, because we saw the biggest hack recently on one of the big leading exchanges, probably the security, the Web3, the decentralization, can we are we going to see a similar kind of an attack on Web3 ecosystem as well, on wallets and dApps? So all those questions will also get answered, right? So before you make a move, before you decide at how you want to start your journey in the Web3 space, I think Wallet Connect is a must know thing. Even if you don't want to use it, probably you should be aware about it, that okay, what are the benefits, that's Wallet Connect, that if I use Wallet Connect, what are the benefits, how can I start a safer journey in this space? So welcome Pranav, welcome Pedro. So Pranav, we all know. Pedro, we want you to I want you to start with your little introduction, your background, and if you can tell us more about how you started this journey and from where this idea came in.
Well, thank you for having me. So, I mean, where should I start? My crypto journey started all the way
Yeah.
back in 2017. I started learning about Ethereum in 2016, and I remember being at my office job in London. I was still not working 100% remotely then, and everyone was like getting very annoyed at the office that I would talk about crypto every day. And then that actually eventually I just left because I just couldn't stop thinking about crypto. I was working in fintech, was already in the finance world, working in these like neo banks, like these very fancy mobile apps, building a new banking experience, especially for young people. But it wasn't like good enough. And I joined a very early team building a wallet in the Ethereum ecosystem in 2017. And it was a very nice transition to build a neobank to a wallet. And eventually I started learning a lot about wallets and basically studied all the big wallets that existed in the Ethereum ecosystem and how they all worked. And there was a lot of room for improvement. And one of the things that I learned that it was very important to improve is that all of these apps have a bias towards like big wallets, and they only integrated one or two wallets, and they were able to connect to other wallets. And basically, this didn't create a lot of competitivity and like a good market to create new wallets. And WalletConnect solved that exact problem. So it started like as a small prototype in 2018. And this then ended up being like one of the most foundational infrastructures. And it all got started with the Ethereum Foundation grant that saw the project that I tweeted about it. And then that actually catapulted into being like everywhere.
Very, very interesting for sure. I do remember my first wallet I used was not Wallet Connect, or the connection through the first app I made was not Wallet Connect. At that time, it was MetaMask. People used to use that, but eventually I understood why it is not safe and I need to use like a hardware wallet. And you cannot directly go in a decentralized application and directly connect with your hardware wallet and start doing things. There is a interface in between which is called the like which is the wallet connect pop-up that comes in, that you sign in with your mobile wallet or the hardware wallet that exists, through which you eventually get access to the decentralized application. So yeah, in 2018 I do remember starting to use Wallet Connect V1 back in those days. And I do remember very precisely when I was building a decentralized application, you guys had released an SDK soon. So every decentralized application could integrate with that SDK, and have that as a norm for anybody who's building a decentralized application. I wanted to understand, when you guys started building this particular core piece of infrastructure, like, just think about it as like Google login for a Web2 world, in my opinion, in which if you do not have that Wallet Connect, you cannot get access to the decentralized application, you cannot interact with it. What was the thinking in mind? Like, what was the first use case that came into you that led for you to basically build this unified piece of infrastructure for all the wallet space in the world?
Yeah, I think you put it very nicely. Like how we actually connected the wallets wasn't very secure, and we have improved this like both inside of WalletConnect and outside through a lot of standards that we implemented across every wallet. WalletConnect probably wrote most of the standards that today are used by wallets. And one thing that was the number one use cases that actually kicked off the experience that we were building for WalletConnect was to help mobile wallets to be easier to use. So if you had a mobile wallet back in 2017, it was incredibly hard for you to connect to a DApp because you actually had to copy the URL, go into this like mini browser inside of the wallet, paste the URL, and then connect everything all over again. And you couldn't even connect your mobile wallet to a desktop. So we created two solutions. One was the QR code that would use the WalletConnect protocol to actually connect remotely from your phone to your desktop. And the other solution was actually the deep links that allows you, for example, if you're browsing in Twitter and you find a new app, Twitter will open that app right away. And you can use WalletConnect to connect to a mobile wallet inside of your actual mobile device. And it all happens through the WalletConnect network.
For sure. And I would like to also give people a little bit of what he explained more in a visual manner, right? Just to let people know and realize the full potential and power of Wallet Connect and how important of an infrastructure it is. I'll just share my screen very, very quickly. When I open like a interface like Uniswap, right? I'm on this particular application right now. I want to connect to my mobile wallet or my hardware wallet Either I do it with MetaMask, which is definitely not safe. It's like a online wallet which can get hacked if I interact with anything wrong. It's not very safe. The other best way is to I go to Wallet Connect. It shows me a QR code and I log in with my mobile with it. That's the second way. And through Wallet Connect, I could connect with my ledger, my safe. Here I can go to the safe. I can go to the app.safe, connect my wallet, connect through this, and then the safe will connect to my other, software wallet. So I would say this is like a bridging piece of infrastructure for any application, decentralized application, to be accessed in the safest and the most secure format, right? So first of all, great job on creating something like this. However, as the world progresses and things go ahead, you guys eventually, after Wallet Connect V1, there were certain connection issues that used to come in when I realized when I was connecting my mobile wallet to it. Eventually, you guys released Wallet Connect V2. I would like to understand and realize that for a developer, for somebody who's building a decentralized application, how important is it, and what are the benefits of using Wallet Connect V2, given that you were the first in space, and then Rainbow Kit and other other Web3 models and stuff like that, they also came into the picture. What leads Wallet Connect to be the front leader in this particular piece? Because again, it's a very important piece of infrastructure. Any decentralized application cannot be built without Wallet Connect.
Well, I know when I'm talking to an OG person like Pranav, when he knows the difference between WalletConnect V1 and WalletConnect V2, this was like probably the most fundamental change in the WalletConnect history. Around 2018, obviously, we created WalletConnect V1, and we were very happy that it was like making so much impact. But around 2020, there was like this massive event where everyone was using DeFi. They even called it the DeFi summer because there was so many people trading on that time and using Aave, Compound, like MakerDAO. It was really heating off. And that actually pushed the boundaries of what WalletConnect could do. We actually really saw like the limits of the infrastructure, and we needed to really redesign the architecture to be very scalable. WalletConnect was like at that point, like making maybe a few million connections, but not as much as it does today. And it was already struggling to actually have that capacity. So with the V2, the most important thing that we did was number one, we made sure that WalletConnect was available globally instead of being centralized around like Europe, is where it started. We are now like distributed across the whole globe, so we have very low latency responses across any part of the world. And number two, we are able to decentralize also the traffic in order to reduce like the actual um, outages that were happening at the time. So now basically WalletConnect not only has amazing uptime, but it also has capacity to take like spikes. If all of a sudden there's like 100 million people like going into WalletConnect in one day, because like the new WalletConnect V2 really solves that. And the third thing, which was like a bonus, because it wasn't actually in the original design of WalletConnect V2, is that there were like some few prototypes around WalletConnect working outside of Ethereum. So we built WalletConnect V1 for Cosmos, WalletConnect V1 for Polkadot, WalletConnect V1 for Solana, but they all were separate networks. And this wasn't a very good design because that meant that like for every blockchain, there's a new WalletConnect. So the WalletConnect V2 not only was more scalable, that meant that like we can support millions and millions of users at the same time, but we could also support users from different blockchains. So WalletConnect V2 is completely chain agnostic. We support every blockchain on Earth today, and we don't have to make any changes if we need to add a new blockchain.
Right,
Right.
phenomenal.
Mhm.
Maybe because of this, I mean, just to give you a perspective to people, I mean, this innovation is so important that it is giving you your freedom back. You are not forced to use only one wallet. Like, I mean, there were days when you were forced to use only MetaMask, maybe, or another wallet just to access those tabs. Wallet Connect has given you the freedom of choice. that if I want to connect a particular dApp through my hardware wallet, I just trust my hardware wallet maybe. So that freedom has been given back to you, that if you want to access an app through your choice. I mean, how important is that? If you want to if you want to understand the importance of Wallet Connect, I mean, it is all about giving you your freedom back to choose that how you want to connect this ecosystem. And probably this is eventually the future. Why? Because after this exchange getting hacked, every now and then, I mean, what is going to happen, that people are going to see, okay, if the problem is in centralization, let me go back to decentralization. And when the individual comes to decentralization, I mean, if he figures out that, okay, here also you have an element of centralization because you don't have any choice. Now Wallet Connect is just trying to solve that, that problem, where people realize that, okay, I have a choice of connecting to this ecosystem through my hardware wallet. And this is probably the reason that the numbers are amazing. I mean, at this point of time, there are close to 45 million users worldwide for Wallet Connect, and there are close to 255 million connections that has happened. So, if you can just give a perspective, Pedro, how big Wallet Connect has grown in such a short span of time, and where do you see it's heading? What are the actual numbers that you're targeting?
Well, I think the numbers are really impressive, and there's other figures that, are a
Mm,
little bit harder to track. But for example, one thing that we have noticed as well,
mm,
you put it very simply, like it's providing the freedom of choice. And what
mm.
else actually has changed is that the market has reacted to this freedom of choice because
Yeah.
now users can choose new wallets. New wallets have actually gained more market share. If you go back 5 or 6 years ago, there was like one wallet to control the whole market share. And now we actually see like the top 10 wallets are actually very equitable. Like they're splitting the market share and they're gaining market share. So the actual number one is losing market share over time. And newer wallets are growing and growing faster and faster because users don't have to choose one wallet and stick to it. They can switch wallets. They can onboard into a new wallet. They can have two wallets at the same time if they want to, and they know that their favorite applications will always be accessible. And this is exactly the vision that we have for WalletConnect. This is not about apps, this is not about wallets, it's about the user experience. And we want to make sure that the users are not limited because we built something very important, which is blockchains. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, these blockchains are creating the new financial rails for the future and maybe even for society with like other tools like coordination and DAOs. And we cannot limit people to having one or two wallets. And this is similar to how you see the impact of the Visa network. Like people have different banks, they have different credit cards, but they can travel the world and they can use their favorite bank and their favorite credit card because the Visa network and the MasterCard network, they operate on a global level. So the limits to how much WalletConnect can grow are really unbound.
Very interestingly said. If you think about in the Web2 world, in the current banking world, the way Visa works is the same way that Wallet Connect works in the Web3 world. If you think about it, I can have any bank. I can have a Indian HDFC or State Bank of India card, right? And I can be in the United States of America where there is no branch of State Bank of India or HDFC, and I can still tap my phone and still make that payment because and the merchant will get his money. The way it
Yes.
works is that there is Visa or Mastercard which actually is processing that particular payment, and that's the connecting force of all the banks in the world. And if you think about wallets as your personal bank, and you want to interact with a merchant like Uniswap, or you want to interact with a merchant like OpenSea, all you need is just that Visa, which is Wallet Connect. You just need that MasterCard connectivity network like Wallet Connect, which can process your transaction in any wallet.
Yeah,
If my
exactly. And
if
I
I
think
even
it's the
build my
best
own wallet,
analogy.
yeah, if
Yeah.
I build my own decentralized application, or if I build my own wallet as well, I can the dApp will not have to actually like interact or integrate with my particular wallet. They will just have to integrate with Wallet Connect, and I will have to integrate with Wallet Connect SDK. and we both can make the connection through that, even if I want to build my own wallet. So this is very, very, very powerful. And you also discussed, like, the constraints that you had in Wallet Connect V1. And now what I understand is Wallet Connect V2 was more about aggregation, multi-chain ecosystem aggregation, and much more reliable in terms of the number of servers that were deployed across the world, given the kind of connections you guys are making. Because I'm sure as faster chains come into the ecosystem with Monad, Mega ETH, and Base becoming much faster, Wallet Connect's job will become tougher. And I think right now Visa does like a million transactions a second or something like that. Wallet Connect will have to, maybe step up that particular thing, as Web3 will be bigger than Web2 in terms of throughput and transactions. And you guys will have to do as big number of transactions. So building on that, V2, now Wallet Connect is getting decentralized. What is the reason for Wallet Connect, which is a part of the infrastructure, to be decentralized, go in that particular zone? I would call it the V3 version. You can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but also in the depth of like, why is Wallet Connect getting decentralized, and why are you guys soon issuing a token behind it? What is the whole uh, 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 thinking behind this new change?
Yeah, so it's really important to understand that because actually it's still WalletConnect V2 because the way we designed WalletConnect V2 was already preparing for future decentralization. What we actually did in the WalletConnect V2 upgrade was we actually just run the network internally, which was really interesting because then while it was one company running the whole thing, it still acted as a decentralized network, but it only had one company running it, but this allowed us to battle test that we are prepared for decentralization. So when we announced that we're going to decentralize the network in September, we already were operating in a decentralized way internally. So we were confident that we could bring other companies to run these nodes. And then we actually have had a very successful run so far. So we now currently have 16 node operators. These are 16 different companies running this network. So it's very decentralized already with only like 4 months of operation since we launched the token. And the node operators are actually earning these rewards. And that was a very important part of launching the token because when you actually decentralize, you need to keep all parties incentivized to work towards the same mission. And the decentralized network is not only just a mechanism to allow us to keep up with fast growing blockchains or low latency blockchains like the ones you mentioned, but it's also a way for us to actually distribute like the responsibility because now all of these node operators are maintaining this network and it's not dependent on one single company running this network. Like you don't need to just like go into one of the companies and say now you will shut down the WalletConnect network for 45 million users. You can't do that. You have to go through 60 node operators, so it provides a good censorship resistance, but it also provides a better reliability because you don't have one company that can fail you because the other companies are also supporting and everyone is incentivized by the token.
I see. And can you maybe give a little more detail about the tokenomics of Wallet Connect, and how are the node operators who are running the Wallet connection working, and how can people participate in Wallet Connect's WCT governance, as well as maybe delegation, if that will be live soon? By the way, first of all, guys, don't go to any particular, after seeing this video, do not go to any particular exchange and start looking for Wallet Connect token. The token is not live yet. It is just issued and it's not live. So if somebody is, pretending to be the Wallet Connect token, they're not really Wallet Connect tokens. So that's a disclaimer we always want to give you. Stay away from scams. They keep happening in web crypto. I think so. Yeah, but yeah, coming back to that question, Wallet Connect network and the tokenomics, and how can people be much more involved in the governance aspect of it, the delegation aspect of it, If somebody wants to run a node operator for Wallet Connect, how can they do that?
Yeah, that's about right. Like, so the token is non-transferable. So while it is on mainnet now, the actual token is actually on the Optimism mainnet. So we actually did not launch our own chain. The token is deployed on an existing chain. So it means that like every wallet that supports the Optimism mainnet will also support the WalletConnect token. And the way we actually distributed the token was in November, we did the first season one airdrop, which meant that we could track the 1 year of history of people who have actually used the WalletConnect network and actually reward them like retroactively by here's your airdrop based on how much you actually use the WalletConnect network. And we also distributed to developers. Like many developers have contributed for a lot of years to the source code of the WalletConnect network. They also have received contributions as part of that airdrop. On top of that, we also partner with many of these wallets that are very close to us, like SafePal, OKX Wallet, Zerion Wallet, and we have other campaigns coming soon. And we're distributing the token through these campaigns. So while the token is not transferable, so it means you cannot go into the exchange and purchase the token right now, we have been doing these distributions. On top of those distributions, we also have done two public sales, one on CoinList and one on BitGet, where other participants were able to actually buy the token before it goes listing. But that was a very short campaign in February and already closed. So don't look for those as well. But that's how we actually have grown the community. And right now we have more than 300,000 people who actually hold WalletConnect tokens. So what can people do with these tokens? Right now, they are on mainnet, like I mentioned, and you can actually go to staking.walletconnect.network. And with those tokens, you actually can stake to support the node operators. And this is a little bit different than traditional delegation in other blockchains because you're not actually supporting one node operator, you're supporting all node operators. They actually share one staking pool that everyone deposits their tokens, and then that actually supports all of the node operators. And the node operators are actually measured by their performance. So it's very important for WalletConnect that it actually has very low latency and high uptime. So every node operator is being measured based on the latency and the uptime, and that creates a performance score. And then the rewards for the node operators are divided based on the amount of performance score they accumulated throughout the cycle.
One of my question, Pedro, is that since you are dealing in something where security as is the top priority, and when it comes to security, security threats and security upgrades, things need to move very fast in this ever evolving world. When we make things decentralized, like when we try when your goal is perfect, but when we try to make it decentralized, things becomes a little slower, right? When it comes to upgradation or making some changes, how you I mean, this is one challenge that must have gone through your mind, that okay, how we going to react to it, how we going to make it like without compromising on the uh, critical decision making and still making it decentralized. I mean, how you have ensured that in future, if things needs to move fast, they will move fast, and still we will be decentralized? Because I mean, this is one question that I feel is very important to understand.
And I totally agree. And that was something that was very important in decision making of how we actually going to move the decentralization. And in the past, we've seen a lot of founders actually, they want to be closer to the action and they actually stay in the software company and they do not transition into the foundation. But I thought that I needed to stay very close to the coordination where, I talk to the node operators, I talk to the wallets, I talk to the developers that are contributing to the network. So I switched to the foundation as a director because I wanted to be leading that direction and making sure that everyone was working together. And one of the
Mm.
things that we actually have done, and we're going to announce the members soon, is that we actually had the first government proposal. So everyone who actually staked their tokens, they were able to participate in this vote. And every future vote in the governance means that you
Mm.
stake your tokens and you can vote. And the first vote that they actually participated was the establishment of the UX console. And the UX console is the core working group that is going to make the decisions for improvements on the network. And this includes multiple people. This includes developers from wallets. This includes node operators. This includes core contributors who are just participating in the actual source code. And it also includes SDK teams, like you mentioned, like the Rainbow Kits, Third Webs, Dynamic Privies. Everyone who is very closely aligned with the WalletConnect network is in this core working group. And we will be working very closely on a very recurring cadence that we actually make decisions fast. Because yes, we need to be decentralized, but we need to keep everyone very closely aligned that we need to make these upgrades very frequently.
So you're in a sense saying that the council, so for every small or big or critical decision, this council doesn't have to go back again and seek the approval. The approval has already been granted to this council, and they can take these critical decisions in real time.
Well, it depends because there's big decisions, there's small decisions, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we do
yeah.
not want the console to have like full reign, but there's like some small decisions that are a little bit like teeny tiny technical, and you just need
Mm,
to get work done. Like there's certain like decisions that we have to make around like how the nodes are operated and how you actually architect, and you need to be very closely involved with the actual development to actually understand these, and that's a responsibility of the console. But there's like larger decisions that we will still need the community vote. Like for example, if we need to change how the tokenomics work, this will
mm.
not only involve like a technical decision, but this also affects every token holder. We also need to take in consideration like what if one day we need to increase the token supply or have inflation. This is not a decision that the console can make
Right.
independently. Like this is something that needs to require community vote. And the most important one, which is probably going to be the number one um, importance for the UX console, is how do we actually introduce fees into the WalletConnect network. And this will require both community vote and the work of the UX console. So the UX console will work very frequently in providing a plan and a roadmap to introduce fees, but then we need the input of the community votes that they agree with this decision, and then we can move forward. So there is a little bit of like work being done and also community input at the same time.
So it's a very secure governance process, I'm sure. So if you know in general, like governance tokens and voting have been at the criticism of Web3 in general, like the use case and the viability of governance tokens. So I'm sure you guys must have taken certain measures to make sure the people who are voting, they are very well involved in the ecosystem and they know the importance of their vote, and making the right kind of decisions. So I trust you on that. However, like coming back to the question that Kashif asked, security is a very big issue in the current realm of things. And if you know the Bybit hack that happened, the current claims that have come out is that for Bybit's hack, they were using a safe wallet, and the UI of that safe wallet was hacked specifically for Bybit. So if you think about it in general, if I go to a general public person, he would say, you guys always claim that blockchains are not hackable, but I keep hearing about all the hacks that keep happening around the world, which are definitely somehow constrained to some kind of like wallet interaction that happened in the past. And it's a very big concern of the whole ecosystem, right? In that particular Bybit specific case, with $1.5 billion in losses from Bybit ecosystem, the safe UI, the front end, was basically compromised, and the smart contract and the functions were correct, but just for people to know, over those functions in the wallet, in the smart contract, you build a UI, a user interface through which you interact, and that UI, the front end, can be replaced and can be compromised, so that instead of calling the real function which can make the correct kind of transactions, you make or call the wrong function, which can eventually lead your wallet to be drained. You can think that it is making the transfer, but it might be actually doing something else so that your wallet actually gets drained. So, front end hacks are a very big reality of the current ecosystem, and a lot of hacks that have happened in the past, including the WazirX hack or the Bybit hack that happened right now, all happened because of a non custodial front end hack of of the parts. And wallet connect is a part of the wallet connects one of the part of the infrastructure is providing the front end for people to connect their applications with. And I hope it never happens, but just for people to totally understand, I'm sure this is a difficult question for you to answer as well. If somebody somehow gets track and is able to replace that wallet connect QR front end and connect to something else which can be compromised, and I do a sign, as soon as I connect my wallet connect with my mobile app, and I have to sign, I sign something which eventually leads to drain my funds. How well situated is the wallet connect ecosystem to make sure any such hack does not happen and the wallet connect front end is always secure and safe?
So there is two things to this question. There is both like the fact that front ends can be compromised, and you need to detect if something is happening before you actually approve a transaction. And there's another one, which is like the actual centralization of front ends. And these two problems have to be tackled separately. The actual compromise of the front ends, and let's take, for example, the QR code. If the QR code were to be compromised, like we have many mechanisms in place that allow wallets to independently verify that this is a valid QR code. And on top of that, they are able to independently verify that the actual requests that are coming from that QR code are actually coming from a legitimate website. And we actually call this the WalletConnect Verify. And the WalletConnect Verify is already built into the network, and it was part of one of the upgrades of the WalletConnect V2, where you every time you connect to a website, if it's trying to pretend to be another website, we can actually detect that, and we actually provide a warning to not connect to this actual application and actually stop it. And this warning happens even if they send a transaction, because potentially you could actually have, for example, you connect to the legitimate website, but then you actually have some malicious code in that website that is being, I don't know, in your computer, sending a transaction from a different website. And then the actual wallet will detect you connected to the right website, but this transaction is coming from a different website. We have many mechanisms built in. And honestly, as you said, like security is one of the most, if not the most important feature of the WalletConnect network. And this is already implemented. I'm not saying that this wouldn't have prevented the Bybit hack, because we have to now tackle the front end decentralization. The reason the Bybit hack happened is because the actual official front end of the Safe wallet was compromised through one of the actual core developers of the Safe team. It was a very, very sophisticated attack. This is not a very simple hack. But what can be done is that in order to have better protection, we need to have more options. We need to have more front ends. Having one official front end for all safe wallets is not a good decision. And for example, one of the things that WalletConnect has today is that there's not one SDK for WalletConnect. You can use WalletConnect with Reown AppKit. You can use WalletConnect with Dynamic, with Privy, with ThirdWeb, with on-chain kit, connect kit, rainbow kit. There's so many SDKs being built around the WalletConnect network that we even have this like official front end that we're eventually going to sunset in favor of all of the other SDKs, because we have so many options, so many companies building great front ends for the WalletConnect network. There shouldn't be one official front end, because if there's not one official front end, you cannot hack one front end. And this is actually something that we're currently in progress. So I'll give you the alpha here, that we will do this because then the official front end eventually will disappear. And then you can only use the WalletConnect SDK with, for example, Reon AppKit or with ThirdWeb or with Privy or Dynamic. All of these companies are heavily contributing to the WalletConnect network. And we want to make sure that these front ends are your touch point as a developer and as a user.
So in general, front end decentralization, as in like, having different ways through which Wallet Connect front end can be accessed is one of the solutions. And you think that just because Safe had just a centralized front end, just one front end I go to, official, well, you can deploy your own front end and use it, but nobody does that. There is officially one front end. That's a hack vector. That's a security vector that could be compromised, which was actually compromised. Very interesting. In general, do you think Wallet Connect would be adding to the security, like the measures to adding more security in terms of to make sure that these kind of hacks do not happen in the future? There is more verifiability that can be done to make sure these kind of hacks do not happen, because at the end, for an end user, I would always do a blind signature in my, despite knowing and being in the Web3 for a very long time, I would always do a blind signature. If I see the wallet connect QR, I would always scan it without thinking it can be hacked. What are the ways to verify always, if I'm doing a big transaction from a big wallet, that there is no compromise and nothing wrong has been done? uh,
Yeah, so we actually are working on the same way like people had phones and now they have smartphones. People now have wallets and they all will have smart wallets. And Safe is an example of a smart wallet. But even Wallet Connect can also be smarter. And we actually every time you connect with Wallet Connect, you create a session. And now we have this new concept which is called a smart session. And smart sessions provides two new properties. One of them is, imagine a world where every time you connect your wallet, you do not have to approve a transaction in your wallet ever again. This means you log in once and you forget, and you interact with your app just knowing that WalletConnect network has your back and it's actually providing that connection on the background. And you never actually have to go, oh, I have to go and approve a wallet, and every transaction that I make, I have to approve. It's very inconvenient. We want to reduce the number of clicks that it takes for people to interact with blockchain by creating these smart sessions in a way that signing happens in the background without your actual approval. But this also means that we now actually have to provide transaction protection. So on top of the smart session, that means that for every signature that happens to the WalletConnect network is independently verified, such that you are protected from malicious or like phishing attacks or hacking. Because basically, if you are not actually approving the actual signature, someone else has to approve. And if someone else is actually approving for you, what's actually happening is that you're interacting with your app, the app makes a signature, and then there will be a counter signature that is actually protecting this. And this is why we're really excited about smart sessions. This is probably the next evolution of WalletConnect that's going to happen over time. We already have a few apps testing this. We actually have a grant program that also helped some apps kick off this testing. I consider this like a very mature beta feature. I wouldn't say it's like 100% full production, but it's very mature. And we're very excited to see how this not only improves the user experience, but also adds more security.
Yeah, thanks. Pedro, one of my question is that what about the data policy? How much data that you capture for your user? Like, I mean, for MetaMask has been surrounded by few questions that the kind of data that they have an access to. So users will like to understand that as a wallet, connect, what kind of data that you store at your end for your users.
Basically, just to
Yeah,
expand on
so
that, MetaMask can capture people's IP, so it can
IPs
tell
and all that because
where I'm accessing my wallet from, which can be a little bit troublesome. Yeah.
So the WalletConnect network since 2018 has been end-to-end encrypted. And what this means is that we actually do not see your interactions on chain. We don't even see your addresses. And this was something that like people complained a lot during the airdrop because they expected their airdrops to just happen automatically. But we actually had to explicitly ask them to associate their WalletConnect wallets with their addresses because we couldn't actually connect the two together. The way this actually works is that what we have internally is like these WalletConnect IDs, and these WalletConnect IDs completely replace your actual wallet address. So we don't actually need to know your actual wallet address because we have the WalletConnect ID, and the WalletConnect ID is actually the one that's actually enabling the connections back and forth. And we can't see your transactions right now. We would actually need you to actually explicitly show us the transactions with smart sessions, and the smart sessions would be the only path that would actually expose transactions because in WalletConnect today, we can't actually see your transactions. We can't see your addresses on chain. So all we have is the WalletConnect ID that's being tracked. And we know that like someone from, let's say, Trust Wallet is connecting to Uniswap, but we don't know who this person is. We just have a WalletConnect ID.
That's amazing. Because if you're not capturing the IP addresses and all that stuff, that in that sense, you can say that it's true form of decentralization. Uh, so yeah, that's great. I mean, because this is one question that we come across for MetaMask and all those other decentralized wallet, and there have been some thought process and debates going around some element of centralization around wallets.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's why we need more wallets. Like the more wallets, the
Mm.
less risk that we have that one wallet has the identity of everyone and their IP address. We need more wallets, not less.
100%.
Pedro, you think in future, as we see that LLM models and now the people are using AI a lot in their lives, I mean, there will be a time when they're simply gonna go and give a prompt, and Wallet Connect at the background is enabling all those transactions through the user wallet. So how you're planning to integrate AI or LLM models into your ecosystem? Is there a plan in future, or you're thinking about it that as more and more convenience is coming in and people are going to use these applications, they're just going to give a voice command to do all those transactions? You think that Wallet Connect is ready for that, and they are willing to upgrade their ecosystem as the AI evolves?
So yes and no, that's the short answer, because the long answer is that this smart session that I just explained allows a better mechanism for the AI agents to actually operate independently. Similarly
Mm.
to how we're actually reducing the amount of clicks for when you connect your wallets to an app, you no longer have to actually sign every transaction because the WalletConnect network would actually enable you to do that in the background. We can do the exact same thing with AI agents. So it's not that we're building something explicitly for AI agents, but smart sessions actually, the same way it improved the experience on existing apps, it also improves the experience on AI agents. And to give you an example, if you now go into an AI agent and does, for example, let's say something simple like dollar cost averaging. You say, I want to every month to buy, I don't know, one soul um, for this price, and then you just like automate it. And then
Mm.
the AI agent has to now create the strategy of how it actually going to create that financial plan. Then the AI agent will have to approve transactions on your behalf to make these purchases. It would be very inconvenient that every time the AI agent has to do something, it has to request your approval. So a smart session actually provides the perfect mechanism for this, because not only you do not need to approve, it can happen even while you're sleeping. And the beauty of the smart sessions is that now the use cases are infinite. And it's not just AI agents. We can even make recurring payments, like paying your Netflix subscription with a smart session because you don't need to approve the transaction. And those funds can be protected by the WalletConnect network to make sure. And that's why I really
Yeah.
like the analogy of the Visa network. But imagine if you actually had the Visa network in every application, every AI agent, literally everything that touches. And that's something that Visa hasn't been able to do. And I think the WalletConnect has the potential to do.
All right.
Okay.
My last question and more of a general overall question. I've been using non-custodial wallets for a very long time, and the experience which I always have had from on-ramping funds inside the wallet to using a decentralized application to eventually using a safe with a decentralized application has been challenging, which always makes me think that for a newcomer, for somebody who is new to the industry with a limited experience in technology, it's a really dampened experience, and which is leading to a constraint for a lot of people to flock onto Web3 and use decentralized application in the best format instead of going on exchanges, buying tokens, and speculating. What do you think is the future of Web3 wallets and wallet ecosystem? And how are we working towards making this a mass moment by improving the UX?
Well, obviously, I'm biased, and I believe the WalletConnect network will play a big role in that future. But similarly to how you don't think how banks and credit cards work, I expect the same thing to happen with wallets. People think that maybe we will connect wallets less because maybe everything will be done like internally or in the background, but someone actually has to make that work. I think there will be like 100 times more wallets, and that means that we now actually have to have every person will have a very different experience, and we need to actually have a consistent experience. And one of the things that we actually put in place was the WalletConnect certified program that establishes a criteria that what a good wallet should be. So this means that any wallet that has been certified by WalletConnect actually meets the basic criteria for good user experience. And this is going to be very important because I believe there's going to be an explosion of new features that need to be established, especially with smart wallets. With smart wallets, which I believe that every wallet today will eventually upgrade to be a smart wallet, this means there's going to be a lot of automation and programmability where you don't have to think so much about how the wallet works. The wallet just works in the background. But in order to do that, we need to do it with decentralized frontends, like we mentioned. Like there can't be one official frontend for all smart wallets. There has to be multiple wallets. And maybe some people like mobile wallets and desktop wallets more, or maybe they like hardware wallets. Like we can't give preferences, but we need to establish the standards for what the good user experience is and work together to actually build a future where smart wallets are actually working for us, not us working for them.
Right.
Right, amazing. I think this was an amazing session. Before we wrap up, one last question, Pedro. I have it in my mind because uh, everyone has a mission. I mean, where do you see Wallet Connect like 5 years down the line? I mean, how how big is it's gonna be? If you can give some kind of an analogy.
I mean, there's so many analogy, but I think the most important one is the same way you log in with Google, you will
Hmm.
log in with WalletConnect everywhere. And right now, the most important experience is that every app that you interact with, it asks you for email or Google or Apple, and the third option will be WalletConnect. But even more importantly, is not that we're not just building the future of login, we're also building the future of finance. And this intersection where WalletConnect is powering every login on the internet, but also every transaction on the internet will play like such a big role that we'll eventually realize how impactful WalletConnect network is. It's a combination of if Visa and Google had a baby, it would be WalletConnect that would be powering the internet in the future.
Wow, amazing. We thought that we are good at giving analogies, but I think Pedro, you just nailed it. I mean, this is like
Well,
this is like
I'll join
one
as a co-host.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is like one analogy that probably your team will be proud of you. I mean, if you'll send this analogy to them, they'll probably play it again and again in presentations, in all those things. That this is one analogy that has made me understood where Wallet Connect is heading, and I'm glad that we had this conversation. I really enjoyed it. Pranav, any closing remarks?
No, I've been a big fan of Wallet Connect for a very
Mm,
long time. I would
mm,
not have made a lot of money and lost it all if there was no Wallet Connect, because I would
yeah,
not be able to connect to decentralized applications.
yeah, yeah.
That
The-
important is that infrastructure. I don't think anybody who has used the app properly has never touched and used Wallet Connect. Hence,
yeah,
building something which, like, hits that kind of mass, that it reaches 230 million connections and 450 million wallets, is
yeah, yeah.
definitely
It's a huge number.
uh, something that needs respect. And starting from Ethereum Foundation grant, it deserves all the attention. My two favorite projects that Ethereum actually did really well with, one was ENS and the other one was Wallet
Yeah,
Connect.
yeah,
So I'm really happy I got a chance to chat with you, and I'm looking
absolutely,
forward to the future of Wallet Connect as it goes to decentralization.
absolutely. Same here.
Well, I
And
appreciate the invite. This was a great conversation, guys.
yeah, yeah, guys. So if you loved the conversation, if you are already using Wallet Connect, or if you're already bullish about Wallet Connect, please do comment and please do like and share this video among your friend circle. Looking forward to call Pedro again sometime in the future. Till then, thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.